Everything you think you know about ancient humans is backwards. You picture exhausting days, constant hunting, a non-stop fight just to survive until tomorrow. The actual data says the opposite. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your job didn't exist for 99% of human history. Right now, somewhere in the Kalahari Desert, a man is walking back to camp. He left at sunrise, gathered enough food to feed his family for the day, and his work is already done. It's not even noon. You haven't finished your first coffee. For roughly 300,000 years, this wasn't unusual. This was just Tuesday. In 1963, an anthropologist named Richard Lee did something nobody had really done before. He didn't theorize about how ancient humans lived. He timed them hour by hour for weeks. The number he came back with was 17 hours a week. Not a typo. 17. You probably spend more time than that just commuting. And here's the part that should really bother you. This wasn't a fluke. Different researchers studied completely different groups, the Hadza in Tanzania, the Ashe in Paraguay, on opposite sides of the planet, and they all landed in the same range. 15 to 20 hours a week, total. So what were they doing with the other 100+ waking hours? Stay with me, because it only gets stranger from here. Skeptics will push back here, and that's fair. Modern hunter-gatherers aren't a perfect window into ancient ones, so forget the living groups for a second. Look at the bones instead. When archaeologists compare hunter-gatherer skeletons to early farmer skeletons, the difference is brutal. Farmers were shorter. Their joints show heavy wear from repetitive labor. Their teeth are wrecked from grain-heavy diets. Hunter-gatherer skeletons tell a completely different story. Taller frames, stronger bones, far less damage. Their bodies weren't shaped by grinding labor. They were shaped by movement, rest, and a diet that actually matched their biology. But the evidence that really breaks people's brains isn't in the bones. It's in the art. In a cave in southern France, researchers found paintings of horses and lions, 30,000 years old. Not crude scratches. Detailed, shaded, deliberate work that took hours by firelight to create. In South Africa, archaeologists found tiny shell beads drilled by hand, 100,000 years old. The nearest coastline was over 10 miles away. Someone walked there, walked back, and then spent hours carving holes through shells with stone tools, just to wear them. That's not survival behavior. That's leisure. And it gets weirder. Picture an actual day. You wake up with the sun, no rush, no clock. If the last hunt went well and there's food stored, you might not even leave camp. You fix a tool, you talk, you nap. If you do go out, the hunt itself might take a few hours, including travel. By early afternoon, the productive part of the day is already over. And then, nothing happens. On purpose. People sit in the shade. They pick through each other's hair. They tell jokes. Anthropologists call this social time, and it can eat up 6 hours a day. Not wasted hours, invested ones. In a world with no police, no banks, no contracts, your relationships were your entire safety net. So you built them constantly, deliberately, every single day. At night, something changes completely. Researchers who recorded fireside conversations found that daytime talk was almost entirely practical. Who saw tracks, who's annoyed at whom. But after dark, the overwhelming majority of it turned into something else. Stories. Myths, legends, jokes, tales about ancestors who did impossible things. Around that fire, with full stomachs and nowhere to be, humans built the first version of culture. Then, about 10,000 years ago, all of it collapsed. And here's the twist almost nobody talks about. Agriculture looked like progress. More food, more people, but it was a one-way door. Once you start farming, you need more farming just to feed the population the farming created. And farming meant real, grinding labor. Planting, weeding, defending crops, storing grain against famine. The skeletons confirm it. Early farmers worked harder, ate worse, and died younger than the hunter-gatherers who came before them. But the population kept climbing anyway. Eventually we got specialists, then soldiers, then administrators. And somewhere in that process, your time stopped being yours. It became something you sold, hour by hour, just to survive inside a system humans built for themselves. Today, you'll spend something like 90,000 hours of your life working. Your ancestors, with none of your tools, none of your medicine, none of your conveniences, spent a fraction of that. They weren't lazy, they were free. So now you know why your job didn't exist for 99% of human history, and why 17 hours a week wasn't laziness. It was just life, the way it was built to be lived, before we traded it away for things that used to be free. We didn't get smarter than them. We just forgot we ever made that trade.